Did you hear something about the recording?
Yes.
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 Okay, great. It's strange. I don't hear it. I don't know why. Yeah, the presenter doesn't hear it. So I'm depending on what's that?
Okay. Okay.
Well, someone else was saying something. Okay. Yeah, the presenter doesn't hear it. I don't know why. When I go to meetings and you will hear the recording going off and the presenter doesn't hear. I guess the system is saying, well, if you click recording, you must expect recording. You don't need to hear. All right, guys. We can get started now. I'm your course instructor, Nicole Edwards. Today we're on Unit 3. We're Kyle and Romina. Forgive me, Romina, if I pronounce your name incorrectly, but it's just how I pronounce my syllables. Rol, I see R-O-L, so it's pronounced Rol to me, Romina. So if it's
yes, you're not the only one who pronounces it like that.
Right. Okay. Some people will see it as R-O-L-L, as in a roll of paper, but I see it as roll.
Right. My parents refer to me as Roll because my dad is Roland because I was named after him and my mother. So it's Roll. But when I went to school and teachers college, they said Roll. So I accepted it anyway. Anyhow.
Okay. All right. Yes. Great. All right, guys, so Kyle and Romina will be presenting today on Unit 3, Select Principles of Organizational Behavior. And I'm sure while you were researching and preparing your presentation, you will see some link. So far with Unit 1 and Units 1 and 2, you will see some link, how they support each other and also support Unit 3 coming down. Okay, guys, let me know and give Kyle and Romina host privilege, and we will start. Let me do the roll call. I see 6 of us. That means Jade and Farah are absent. It's great to see you, Deandra. This is not your first meeting, Deandra. No, it's not. No.
Good night, Miss. No, it's not.
No, it's not. Yeah, you were in the last meeting. All right, so it's just Farah and Jade not here. Okay. All right, Rolmina, you have host. Let me know if you have it. Kyle, tell me if you're seeing host privilege?
Yes.
All right, guys, so go ahead. You can now override my file and do your thing. It's nice to see everyone. In the meantime, while Rolmina is doing her thing, so tell us what happened, Deandra, and
is everyone seeing the PowerPoint?
Yeah, we're seeing the PowerPoint. But just a minute, how did the election went, Deandra, and who? It was Vernon who said they had elections yesterday.
Well, yes, Miss. Very interesting. The long-serving Prime Minister was ousted by a newcomer. To the
old Michelle is out.
Okay,
the political arena.
So it's a new party or a new
not a new party, but the formation of a party which would have lost 2 consecutive elections with full 15 seats towards the ruling party. They lost on 2 occasions before, have come back now with a young group, I should say.
Yeah.
So now it's another Mitchell actually, but he's not related to the one that is being ousted. So he's 44 years old, and we have, I think, maybe in the region right now, the youngest serving female politician, 24 years old. She won her seat. Yes.
What?
That's great.
That's great.
Yes. So it was a
the wind of change.
Yes, give young people that chance.
I need to ask a question. I read about, I don't want to say, congrats, I mean, to the new, elected Prime Minister. I read a little about him last night. But I need to ask a question. If you maybe voted for him or whatnot, what is different? What is very different? Is there a radical difference between him, that lawyer, and the Prime Minister, the former Prime Minister?
In the
A huge
meantime,
difference.
Sheldon, you have to turn off your radio. Somebody was playing some radio. Turn off your radio when you're speaking, because we hardly hear what you
Oh
say.
boy, I'm on the bus. I'm so sorry.
Oh, you're on the bus. Okay, so go
I
ahead.
think what he was asking was that he was asking if there's a difference between the former prime minister and the new prime minister right now. And I just said to him, there's a huge difference in terms of the what we are going to address right now, leadership style in some respect. It's very, yeah, very, 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 very different. And I think it's well deserving. And not that I mean, you might tell where my vote went, but it is well deserving that we needed the change. I'm welcoming the change, because I think after a while, when you stay in position for such a long time, that position, this man has been there for it's over 25 years, I believe. I stand corrected from Vernon on one.
We need some of
that
that wind
is
in
correct. I read about it.
We need that in
So
St.
we needed the
Vincent.
change.
We have
Really
one five storms here.
Yes,
but
yes.
what I'm asking is, but I'm asking, okay, based on feelings and emotions, I'm hearing from you, okay, we needed a change and so on. That is fine. And change is always welcome. But what I'm asking is, in terms of political ideology, what makes them different?
Okay, well, for the prime minister who's been there before, as he mentioned, he has been there long enough so he could continue to take the country forward. And he believes that if you have to have the experience and years of service to really get the job done. On the other hand, it wasn't so. He believes that if we work together, young and old, it is going to be a more successful country going forward. I think one of the things is that him being a newcomer into the political arena, it's kind of hard to tell you his actual ideologies, but I know he does believe in the fact that both young and old working together is what is important in all of this. Everybody is important, because he said, he made one of in his swearing in today, he actually stated that his speech, he said, if his door is open and anybody who is willing and ready to work and serve the country and do it with hard work and commitment, then you're welcome to come on board. So he's very open to, he's very open to getting more of the commitment of the people to work and serve the country, rather than you're pinpointing a certain group or age group of people or things.
Okay.
I understand. I understand that. I understand that. But what I'm saying real quick is that is he a centrist, right? Or is he leftist? Is he you understand, on the right? You understand what? That's what I'm asking in terms of his political ideology. All what he said there is good with regard to his intentions and wanting to work with everybody and so on. But that's what I'm asking, the party's ideology.
I didn't get the last part. What's the question actually, Sheldon?
What is the party's ideology? Is it centrist? Is it leftist? Is it on the right? You understand? These are the questions I'm asking in terms of the party.
It's tough to say, because they're most of them are fresh into this. It's very tough to say.
I think you'll have to wait until a while to observe that.
Yeah, it will take a while to really see, because thank you very much for that, Ronila, because the majority of them are new to the political arena. They're newcomers, like who won their seats. So that's the interesting thing about this.
Okay, fair enough. Like in Dominica, for example, you have two political parties. One, they refer to themselves as social democrats, and has a more leftist approach. If you look at the leanings of the current prime minister, he leans towards Cuba and China. Look at his friends, Chavez and so on. The other party, the opposition party, is they consider themselves a very centrist party. If you research about them, they consider themselves a very centrist party. So that's why I was asking the question.
Okay. Maybe Vernon can share a little bit more on it. But from my point of view, I can't say I've seen it as yet, because they're now going up. They're about to start, really.
Okay, all right. We're gonna hold. All right, this was a nice little icebreaker. I want to hear from Vernon about it as well. But we're going to treat this as our icebreaker, but we're going to continue it after the presentations, okay? Because I'm anxious to hear the presentations.
Okay.
And get the presentations out of the way. We can discuss it after. But you can ponder the question, and Deandra, because I teach Foundation 1301, which is law and governance. So I'm really about this politics thing. And I think, I'm not sure if this is what Sheldon was trying to go after. When he was saying ideology, I want to know what it is that is so different about this new party. What is it that they're saying? What improvements are they going to bring to the country that struck you or probably your family members, your friends around you, to say, you know what, let us put them in and see what if they really will carry out this mandate. What is their mandate about? Just so as our new presidents come in and they will say, okay, we're going to improve our schools or the infrastructure all over. We're going to improve your water supply and all of those. So I want you and Vernon to ponder these two things, since you guys were the only two participating in a general election.
It's not a new party.
Right. All right. So we're going to. Okay, so we'll after the presentation we can continue to discuss. So let me now welcome Kyle and Rolmina. You can go ahead now. I'm not sure who will start on the presentation, but you have the.
Okay, is everybody hearing me?
Yes.
Loud and clear.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Pleasant evening, one and all. And we will be presenting on Unit 3, Select Principles of Organizational Behavior. All right, by yours truly, Rolmina Matthews and handsome Kyle Bird. All right. Now, before we begin, I would like to hear your thoughts, or what do you think organizational behavior means? Anyone? From your standpoint, what do you think organizational behavior means?
Is it okay if I go?
Yes, yes, yes. Go right ahead.
I believe that organizational behavior addresses, it's about the level of response to your work. Basically, okay. I say that's short. Yeah, the level of response to your work.
Okay, good. Anyone else?
When I mean work, the job, it could be, sorry, it could be, let me explain, because an organization doesn't have to be a place where you work, but more or less to the task or responsibility given to you.
Okay. Sheldon? Or Vernon? Hazel?
Good night.
Good night.
Yes.
What do you think organizational behavior means?
Well, I was looking in the unit earlier, and based on what I understand it to be is that it has to do with how the different factors within the organization will affect the individual, certain variables and so on.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
Well, when I think about organizational behavior, you look at the different culture, you look at the different practices within the organization. That is what I understand about organizational behavior. The way the organization operates, it's more than that. That's what.
Okay, very good responses. So the focus of this unit will be organizations, with a focus on organizational structure and two fundamental ideas in the field of organizational behavior, right? So management and leadership are impacted by a knowledge of organizations and organizational behavior because it offers insight into the behaviors of both people and groups inside the organization, all right? So at the end of this session, you should be able to explore the nature of organizations and focus on their structure and design, explain the philosophy of change management and its importance to management and leadership, and explore the sources of motivation and the various theories associated with these sources. Session 1. Session 3.1, organizational structure. Now, we have Chester Bernard in his 1968 book, Functions of the Executive, described an organization as a system of intentionally organized personal actions or forces. Okay, so this is one of many definitions, since defining the term organization is challenging due to the wide range of types, structures, locations, and aims of entities that might be classified as organizations. Okay, now recognizing the challenges of defining an organization, Tolbert and Hall, 2009, aim to find common features. Most attempts to describe organizations include some combination of the 4 criteria listed here. 1, there are 2 or more members. 2, a goal or collection of goals that directs the activity of members. 3, distinct members are allocated different duties. And 4, a structure of authority that is widely acknowledged as governing decisions. All right. Now, while these features can be found in all organizations, they may exist in different forms. So another definition that should be examined in the context of this unit, in addition to those that I just mentioned, W.H. Starbuck, 1976, and he stated, a commitment to attaining goals through a defined and consistent framework of task allocations, roles, and duties separate organizations from other collection of individuals. Okay? So organizations are neither mobs or informal gatherings. For example, social and service groups that meet only part of the time. However, as long as organizational behavior is the focus rather than social conduct in general, the forms of behavior in which organizations specialize should be highlighted. Okay? Now,
okay, Romina, before you move on, just go back to the other slide, previous slide. All right. So you're saying Starbuck, 1976, stated that organizations are neither mobs or informal gathering. That's what you're saying? Is this a part of his whole concept? Is our he or she? Or did you just put that in there?
no, I didn't just put it in there. It was a part of the unit. Yeah.
Okay, so wasn't it, who posited it? Starbuck? Was it a part of it, or it's just what you quoted that he posited?
Yeah, it wasn't just what I quoted is what he said.
Okay.
And then I put the other one in a different, like from a different point, in a different point.
Okay. Did the unit further explain what it means by it's neither mobs or informal gathering? Why it had to put that in there to say an organizational structure is not neither mobs or informal gathering? Did you get that understanding?
From my understanding of it, I think from what I gathered from it is that, okay, some may think that groups or gangs, I think this is talking about gangs. So hence it's saying that they are neither mobs or informal gatherings. But there is a structure where you follow certain norms or rules or regulations. And you have to behave a certain way.
Okay. All right. You can continue.
Okay. Now, we wish to find out why is an organization important, right? So Charles Perrow, 1991, stated that we live in a society of organizations. And Tolbert and Hall, 2009, provide a second rationale for the need of knowing organizations, right? They said, because we live in an organized society, we virtually always have to alter organizations if we wish to change significant areas of our lives and our society. Okay? Now we have type of organization. Now, there are 4 types listed here based on sociologists Peter H. Bloch and Richard Scott, 1962. They devised the 4-category system for different sorts of organizations. These are mutual benefit associations, organizations, business concerns organizations, service organizations, and Commonwealth organizations. All right? And then we have the structure of organizations. Now, the structure includes centralization and decentralization, formalization, and complexity. All right? Now, centralization and decentralization. Now, according to Gerald Page, 1980, page 65, the quantity and diversity of engagement in strategic choices by groups relates to the number of groups in the organization. So in increasingly decentralized organizations, decision-making is decentralized throughout the company and delegated to subordinates. And then we have formalization, where the codification of operational procedures inside an organization is referred to as formalization. Now, this covers how well job definitions and procedure standards are codified or laid down in a systematic manner. And complexity.
Okay, not to break you, break your run. All right, let's backtrack a little. We thought you were going to probably explain to us the type of organization coined by Richard Scott and Peter Bloch. Those 4 types there. We thought you were going to give us a little background on each. Nothing lengthy, but a little background. Do you have any background on each of them?
Okay. Now,
what does mutual benefit association organization? What does that refer to? All right, while you're thinking about it, who in the class can let me know the Caribbean operates in a certain way as take on different mandates of certain times? Which of these 4 organizations will cover the Caribbean working together as a whole?
Commonwealth.
Very good. Yes, that's a Commonwealth organization. So now you have an understanding of
now mutual benefit association, right? Now this reminds me of like credit unions, because it's an organization offering benefits to members for no fixed premiums, but assessments are levied to meet specific losses as they occur. So I think like insurance or even credit union comes to mind when I think of mutual benefit.
Will this include the banks? Will this include the banks? Or just
I would say so as well.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
Continue.
Good night. Could I just a question to people Miss Edwards or Almina, sorry. The Mutual Benefits Association, I realize that the unit does not really, I don't know if I'm incorrect, but
no, it didn't give any info on it.
Didn't give any info on it at all.
No.
But I'm thinking with a mutual benefit organization, I'm thinking it's probably more of organizations that a group of people coming together just for a common purpose. it could be PTA, you know, those type of organizations, but I'd more put banks within a business concern organization or service concern organization. So I'm not sure. I just need some clarity. I guess I'll have to do some research. But the unit did not go into it at all, and I have not had the time to dig in.
No, so, all right. So the mutual benefit organized association, right? Now, these types of organizations offer benefits to members. All right. Now, based on what I gather from that, and it says members for, well, it offer benefits to members for no fixed premiums, but assessments are levied to meet specific losses as they occur. So this reminds me of life insurance and various types of insurance, as well as credit unions. I don't think this has to do with like a PTA or so, but I more think this has to do with like death benefit, life insurance, health insurance, and so on. Anybody agree with me? Agrees with me?
Okay, Farah said just indicated that she figured the labor union. You can grab the mic, Farah. The thing
Trade
is,
union.
right.
Like, yeah, I was wondering if labor union and teachers union as well could come under mutual benefit. I'm not sure.
Yeah, yes, I think so. But then maybe they can probably come under service organizations.
What a quick search shows that they are non-profit. Yeah, they're non-profit organization, and I guess certain organizations like banks and credit unions would not fall under mutual benefit because
Okay.
just a quick search, because I know the unit didn't give the info, so it's just for clarity since we're looking at it, and you know, and I realize it's saying based just on a quick research, it's saying that they are non-profit, like homeowners organizations and things like that. So it seems to be those more should I say more simplified, I don't even know how to put it, organizations. Let me see what I have there, just a quick Google. Stands apart from the other types of non-profits in that its mission is to serve the members and not the public. And they're saying it's non-profit. So common examples are homeowners association, chambers of commerce, fraternities. So those type of organizations, maybe just a PTA or neighborhood watch, things like that.
Voluntary.
Yeah, will fall under this type of organization. So I think like the banks and the credit union will come under service or business. I don't know.
Okay.
Okay, very good. Thanks for that clarity. All right. So I'm okay with the business and service part of it and the Commonwealth organization, but I really wasn't, I didn't know anything about the mutual benefit.
Mutual.
Right.
Neither me, never hear about it.
I was baffled about that one, so that's why I wanted to elaborate. So we're going to move on, Romina and Kyle, but for as soon as you finish your presentation and such, I want you to do a little research for the group and just define clearly what those are and give us some examples, and you post it in the tutor student exchange, okay?
Okay, yes, miss.
So, no, post it in the same area that you have your discussions, because that's where I go to find everything when I'm graded. So in the same discussion area, you just indicate that this is a follow-up from your meeting, and you can also include it in when you're uploading your slide. You can
add it to the slide.
Right. You have the stretch in order to elaborate on them and include it in your slide before you upload. All right, so we're going to continue now where you talked about centralization and decentralization. In your own words, just tell us, we understand decentralization, it's quite clear, but the centralized part of it is a bit still vague. in your own words, explain
All right.
what
So I would say it's the amount of concentration of authority or power inside an organization. Everybody hearing me?
Yeah, we're here. Go ahead.
I think centralization has to do with the amount of power authority one has in an organization.
Oh, continue, Romina.
Oh, I think I was at.
All right, so here you have it, Romina. What I wanted you were clear here. Decentralized organizations, decision-making is decentralized throughout the company and delegated to subordinates. We are quite clear on that, but it's like the centralized is still vague. What is the opposite? You're thinking that centralization is the opposite here.
Maybe I could assist. Sorry about that. Can I assist because I'm a little familiar with centralization and decentralization from
this, Hazel?
Yes.
Okay, great.
I had to do an organizational profile. So I'm sorry, I'm a little more ahead of this is my last course. So because of that, I have the understanding more of centralization and decentralization. With a centralization organization, it's more where authority, leadership, all the rules, and so you have a leader, and the leader basically is the one who
delegates duties.
All the rules and all the delegation, everything. He has the power. With decentralization, you have various persons now coming together to make the decision within the organization, and so it's the opposite. So with decentralization, for example, the organization I was researching, a decentralized organization is basically a revitalized community organization where all the members of the executive will sit together and they will make decisions as to what is going to happen. But with centralization, it would be the manager who would make all the decision and pass it down on to the other subordinates.
So in essence, is we are saying centralization has to do with a more autocratic leader.
Yes.
It's more for authority. Okay. All right.
Yes.
So I'm sure we all know who's an autocratic leader, someone who they basically make decisions on their own. They might solicit from the group, but the buck stops with them, if you understand what I mean. They make the final say. And would you say centralization has to do with a smaller group versus decentralization would be more of when I say larger group, a small organization or a bigger organization?
Well, I would think it's some cases, but when we look at even leadership, why a whole party can basically run as a centralized organization based on how we know that some like when you have a communist system, you have basically the leader is the one that the buck stops with. So
like
yeah, so I would say most of the time, but it's not really fixed.
Okay, all right, great. All right, very good, guys. We can now move on. So move on to the next slide from you, Romina.
And now we have Kyle.
Good night. So my part is change management. Good night to all. So we look at how change comes about. So in organization behavior, it is studied that the effects of leader and their success, adoption of change or innovation is possible when the steps are taken to ensure change. So when we're dealing with change, we're dealing with the development or the implementation of something new. For the resistance of change, this is the reaction to change. The resistance of change organization, we have the manager and the leader, and they are known to use a module. So this module is number one, the success of the organization, how our organization comes off to be successful. Two, the satisfaction of their customers. If their customers are satisfied with the certain product or service, and then the performance of the employees. So in every organization, the performance of the employees is essential. So we have a little picture indicating the change and then the same. Like, next slide, please.
No, hold on, no move yet. So Kyle, explain to us, what is this change management? What are you getting at when you say change management? And is this as some management style or some management skill? What is it?
It's more like I wouldn't say it's a skill, but the change management, how we go about change, how we go about implementing change. So this module, they use step 1, 2, and 3.
And when you say change, what do you mean? When it changes to what? When it comes to
the organization, we have a company and we want to implement something new.
Okay, the company wants to implement something. The company wants to implement something new, or take the company on another trajectory. So
yes,
where they have to now implement change management. That's what you're getting at.
Yes, and it might be difficult, so we have to.
Okay. So the resistance to change is what they are trying to manage. They're trying to manage the resistance that the employees might give off towards this change.
Yes.
All right, great. Okay, I know we're on track. Any questions from the group? Or ideas? No? Okay, all right, go ahead, Kat.
So we have drivers of change. So this is an external force. So the external force deal with mostly like technology, the change in technology, funding requirements, and the change in demographic and social issues such as increase in number of teenager pregnancy. So change in technology have to deal with maybe, you guys have newer phones every year, so you have to keep upgrades. So maybe a company might implement a newer system that deals with technology. Funding requirements. Some organization every year they have to do a budget and they have to go out and actually ask for funding. So it requires funding in order for the organization to move forward. So new investors is involved and etc. And last but not least, the social issue, the increase in teenage pregnancy. That's a change.
We get you on technology because there's a change when technology changes. Even the very moment we're speaking, technology is changing, is improving, innovation and such. Okay, so let me ask the group, when it comes to employee, who are the most resistant to this change?
Young people.
Employees.
Yeah, the employees were there, but what area of the employees? What type of employees are usually most resistant to this change?
Miss, I think the older ones.
Thank you. That's what I'm listening out for. So that's that's where change management helps managers and leaders to implement, to try and fix this resistance to technology. They have to focus on that group of people. Okay, funding requirements. I don't think I'm clear on that part of it, Kyle. What does that have to do with resistance to change? Okay, where are the drivers of change? Okay, what drives changes? Okay, getting funding drives changes, but what about funding that drives a change in the organization? We know that technology drives changes, yes, because every day it's improving. Today you're using a certain photocopier, or tomorrow you find that one copier can do printing, scanning, even send through emails and all kind of stuff. So you have to keep improving, especially if the organization gets bigger and bigger and better. But this funding requirements, we don't understand that part. We need to clear that up for us.
Okay, so in funding, different organizations could fund different, like smaller organizations. So if it's a new leader or new management, they might want to change a certain thing about the organization. So funding, some people want to see where the money is going. So funding actually is a driver of change. These are external forces.
Okay, all right. And the most important one, I'm not sure I'm clear about the teenage pregnancy part of it. How is that a driver to change? There are so many things. Well, you guys are doing youth development, yes, but why this particular one is a more driver to change when it comes to an organization?
This have to deal with the amount of people getting children, well, teenage pregnancy. This could drive change, like maybe more females would be in the work field. Demographic, when you deal with demographic, I guess the population goes up. So this would be change. Come again?
I said more maternity leave.
Yes, so
yeah, that's what I'm looking out to hear, how this affects the organization. Yeah, maternity, more maternity, because the more you employ.
So when employees are pregnant, more maternity leave and absenteeism would be increased, and then you have to look for temporary workers and so on, and probably have to retrain them, and start from start to finish. Some of them may be slow to learn and so on, so it can cause certain issues in the organization.
Okay, agree. Yeah, and even at one point, especially in the US, at one point, employing more women in the organization was a problem, because we know women are family oriented. It's the woman who's pregnant. Yeah, and the company
spend the time with the family.
Right, and the company now, as it comes back even to funding. Now have to get funding from elsewhere in order to be paying persons to come in and do the work. So that's why at one point, yeah, okay, go ahead, guys.
I wanted to add money. Sorry, I wanted to add too with the whole change in like, for example, the social issue of teenage pregnancy. We could look at it from this point of view, not just male to female, or just leaving out may not want willing to hire females, but I want to look at too, generally they might look for older women, for example, who may have past the age of childbearing or the childbearing stage, and look at and they don't want to have on their hands young women or young people with responsibility on their hands. So every minute, for example, you might say a child's sick, you need to go home, you need to go pick them up at the daycare and those kind of things. So that is part of the issue, the external drivers of change, where they might look at the age group of women that they may want to hire in that sense.
Very good. And it all brings us back to the culture again. Remember, we learned about how the culture of the organization is like. Even though you might think overage persons, women 50 and up, would suit a certain organization or better, some organization will not see it like that, because there are some organizations will think that because of their age, they won't be able to help with ideas, and they will give them problem where technology is concerned and certain things. So I mean, it even boils back down to the culture of the organization, what it see, what has been manifesting in the organization over the years. Okay, so those things are taken into consideration. All right, go ahead, Kyle. You can now continue on internal sources.
Thank you. So the internal sources have more to do with culture, attitudinal, and staff composition change, take, stagnant organization by surprise as the need to adjust management practices become essential and maintaining and building effective and efficient workforce. So the internal structure, an example of the internal sources, it's basically saying this organization is private entity or the social development organization. So the internal sources to change. So we have attendance, and then we have
that word so that everybody is on the same page. The factors, external factors and internal, instead of saying sources, because these are really factors that contribute to the drivers of change. Am I correct?
Yes, well, the unit says sources, but you are correct, it's factors.
Okay, I'm going to have to look at that again.
Okay.
All right, Kyle. So you're saying, okay, we have dealt with the external factors, and we're now looking at the internal factors having to do with change, cultural, attitudinal, staff composition changes, take that. Attendance, moral, turnover rate, that is clear. The bottom line is that people are needed to execute change. All right, continue, Kyle.
Okay. So the last but not least, the bottom line, people need execute change. So these are the drivers of change. So we look at the key process and the principle of change management. Everybody following so far?
Yes.
So thoughtful planning and calculated implementation. It's straightforward, or do I have to explain? It's straightforward for everybody?
Yeah.
Okay. Time factor. So ensure that people are open to change and willing to modify their behavior. It's clear for everybody? And learning new skill and attitudes. Guiding principle of align version and strategy goals. And personal engagement, sorry, and collaboration and embracing innovation. Next slide, please. So this is the central theory of change. So we have unfreeze, create the rights, the environment, and then we have change, support change to desired state, sorry, and then we refreeze, reinforce to anchor the change. So this is the
go back to that.
So this is the 3-stage module. So
right. So Kyle, give us an example and explain this 3-stage change model to us. Give us an example using one of the factors of changes and give us how Luena actually establishes this model.
So we unfreeze whatever we want to change, we unfreeze. And then we change and we support the desired state, what is going on. And then we refreeze, so we reinforce and anchor the change.
All right, so understanding, Mikhail. Okay, let's use technology. Management wants to change over certain technology and such. They want to change over the computers, the copiers, everything. But they have met upon a certain resistance. Let's go through the model to see how is it that they will use this model to implement this change.
Okay, so let's look at technology. So with the new phone that is coming out, technology, a new computer, for instance, we might have a new operating system. We have the different Windows that everybody is not accustomed to. We had Windows 7, Windows 8. What's the latest Windows? Windows 10, right? So then people might be resistant to the Windows 10, for instance, platform, the operating system. So we are creating the environment to welcome the Windows 10. And then we support the change.
So how would you create the environment? That's the unfreeze stage. How would you create the environment for them to accept this new operating system?
By giving them more, we could do more with the operating system rather than using Windows 8, for instance. We could do more. So that would try to pursue them to bring about change.
Well, I guess that would probably, one thing they could actually start doing is do a presentation on it and let them see how, and Windows 11, I think we're in Windows 11 stage now. I think one of the method that could be used is to have an introductory session, do a presentation, a training workshop, yeah.
Just a short course or something.
Right, to introduce and to let them see why it is important to upgrade to this system and what it will do for them. All right, so now we're at the middle stage there. What happens in this stage?
So after the presentation, we are at the supporting the change, right? Yes. So we refreeze and then we reinforce the change to anchor. So
even though you're doing a presentation, Ronmina, you're a part of it as well as the class. So if you see we're in, you can give some ideas, but you need to tell us what will management do to support the change to the desired state? What happens at this stage? Well, for example, they can give staff, they will ensure staff get the time off to go and to these workshops.
They can fund it as well.
Very good. They get time off, they get the funding.
Yes.
What else, guys?
They can give them a trial run to see how well they could give them a trial to see how well they respond to the change.
Mm-hmm. Okay, some organization might even implement incentives. They get certain incentive because when you want people to buy into a certain thing, you have to create some kind of incentive. You want them to learn, let them feel the environment in a sense that it's necessary for them to learn. All right, we're at the third stage now. What happens there?
I think,
so we go ahead.
Monitor and evaluate the change.
Very good. Yeah, and how will they go about doing that? Remember, we're talking about technology now, making some changes to the technology, Windows operating system. What will happen there?
So when you monitor and evaluate the change, you monitor to see how well the technology is with the employees, how fast it is or effective it is, and how well the employees can respond to whatever output is given by it, and how well they understand what they're supposed to do.
Very good.
Yes. Let's see what else.
Who is talking now? Is this Ronmina or Ezo?
Romina.
Okay.
Yes. Evaluate where they can make an observation of how the employees how good they are at the new technology, or if they need to improve or make any additional changes to what they've changed already.
Okay. All right, yeah, reinforce it, because I mean, you don't want to start something new in the office and because people not buying into it, it doesn't get off the ground. Because
Yes.
you see, management see the need that this needs to be implemented. So of course, they're going to try and find the refreeze stages to ensure that the employee really accepts it. And they will have to
Yes.
evaluate and such in order to ensure that they are accepting of it and it is eventually implemented. All right, very good. Continue, next slide.
Okay, so we look at the John step for learning organization change. So we establish a sense of urgency, form a powerful guiding
Coalition.
and then we create a version. Step 4, we communicate the version. Step 5, we empower others to act on the version. Step
Vision.
6, vision. Step 6, we plan for and create short-term wins. Step 7, we correlate improvement and
consolidate.
We consolidate improvement and produce same more change. And then
Institutionalize new approaches.
oh, sorry, my microphone was mute. So resistance to change. So without change now, this is the resistance to change. We have strategies, goals that we might not achieve because it's the resistance to change. So we maintain, we have clients and customer. We will then disappointed, and then we have cost that will waste. So this is the resistance to change. And then in helping now, we recognize the resistance to change. So we have to understand the cause, and then we have to learn the method to overcome these changes. So we have finding ways to incorporate the personal. So we have such paid or we have volunteers to implement these change, to develop and implement. This will yield most favorable results. And then we have a picture below showing no change. That's how the people may protest the implement of the new change. Next slide. So we have
motivation.
So we have what is motivation? So motivation could be the fire within. If someone else try to light the fire under you, the chances are it will burn very okay. So we have human motivation is one of the key to the organization success. So we have the sources of motivation. We have intrinsic, and then we have extrinsic sources. We have incentive sources, and I'll explain them. So the intrinsic sources, these are based on personal needs, desire to satisfy them. So we all have personal needs and we have desire to satisfy them. So let me just explain. So the extrinsic force now, say suppose you need, this is an example, you need to motivate us. To do something safely, for instance. We might have a specific task that we have to do, and then the fire within would help us to overcome that. So the extrinsic factor, say suppose we have something, maybe like something external, like you might say that you have to do something at a certain time, but something like it could be issues outside of that would push you to do what you're supposed to do.
Kyle?
Yes.
Though we're on session 3.3, motivation, it is still a part of the whole organizational behavior that you're discussing, and it's also a part of change management. And you guys talked about resistance to change and all of that. So try to tie in intrinsic to what you have just talked to us about. What is really intrinsic motivation? In this sense, I'm looking to hear you say something like related to what we just talked about. What we just talked about, Windows 11, the company trying to implement Windows 11. How is this intrinsic? Remember, intrinsic comes from within. It has nothing to do with outside factors. How will an employee now look at things intrinsically? Or will Windows 11, how is this employee going to apply intrinsic, the intrinsic factor to them being motivated?
Okay, so this is an internal force. So you might want to do, say you want to create a document, for instance, using the new platform, and you have a presentation to do. That's an internal factor that will drive you in order to learn the operating system.
Okay, anyone else want to add to what Kyle just said? What they believe some intrinsic factors may be?
Maybe you want to become an expert.
Okay, who is talking? Who is talking? Who just said
Miss
expert?
Rolmina.
Okay, Rolmina, okay.
Also may want to become a computer expert.
Very good.
Computer, yes. So within themselves, they want to become motivated and more driven to become an expert. So maybe this can cause them to get promoted or in a different department that they have always wanted to be a part of.
Very good.
Thank you, Miss.
Anybody else?
I think maybe if the individual also like that challenge in terms of technology and stuff like that, they would also
I'm not sure who is talking and we're not hearing you properly. But guys, remember, we're relating. One of the things I pointed out to you is that whenever we come to the meetings and we're discussing things, try to relate it to real life situation. Don't think too much into it. These concepts, don't make it throw you off. Just think of it as it is. If Windows 11 is interesting, think about it on how will this affect you intrinsically. If I was doing Windows, okay, hold on 1 second. If Windows 11 is going to be introduced into my company, Or will I motivate myself intrinsically? I'm going to say to myself, look here, I'm learning something new, and in learning something new, I could get a promotion, and not just that, it will make my work easier. Technology is invented to make life easier. So when you move from one technology to the next, it's supposed to be working for you to make your life easier. So these are little responses that I'm trying to get from you. So to ensure that you're understanding the concepts in these readings that you're getting, and don't overthink it as if these concepts are some extreme words. Just think about it and think about how it would be applicable to you, your working environment, and more importantly, working as a youth development officer. All right, go ahead. Somebody was speaking. You need to say your name when you're speaking.
Deandra, Miss Edwards. I was going to add basically what you just said, because right now I have a multiple choice exam that I'm debating whether or not I want to print it out or just let kids do it on one of the apps we were introduced to for online learning, so that it can correct itself when the children are finished and I don't have to go through papers. So that's part of, for me, the intrinsic motivation that if you get something like an updated program or so for the computer, so then you make sure your work, you're more effective and efficient on the job, and you can get other tasks done. For example, I don't have to sit down and correct papers. I could probably sit down and prepare my slides for next week for presentation.
Very good. That's a very good example.
So yes.
And at the same time, we need to realize, even though we're dealing with young people, and they look on and see how the certain things that we do, and when they are impressed, we get better respect. When you're impressed with someone, you're more respected. They see you more as a role model. So people don't overthink these words. Just think about them as they are and see how you apply them to your environment and the youth that you're working with. All right, let's look at extrinsic now. Go ahead, Kyle and Rolmino.
Okay, so extrinsic. This is based on other people establishing incentive for us to behave a certain way. So if I have a class of 20, and then let's say one of them have 90% and I give.
All right, Kyle, but I'm not gonna let you derail, you know. You started with, you were the one who implemented this whole Windows.
Okay, so let's go back to the Windows.
Okay.
Let's go back to the Windows.
Kyle?
Yes?
Oh, sorry. So, Miss, I think extrinsic would be where at the end of their training, they can receive a certificate of participation or achievement.
Very good.
Yes. Also, they can even receive a raise of pay based on their training and skills.
Very good. These things are not impossible, you know. Go ahead. What about the rest of the class? What will motivate you extrinsically when your management introduce something new like Windows 11? Or what management we're now look at the external part now, which has to deal with management, anything that is outside of you.
Money.
Yeah, money.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true, because when I was working at UWI, and as soon as I finished my master's, and because it related to what I did, my pay was increased, and yeah, so it is a possibility. Money, these little incentives, and incentives can also come by some persons get to go back to school, but when the management see the effort and see that it's something that you're interested in, they will send you back to school, and going back to school is very important when you're putting these things on your resume for your self-development, your career development, actually. All right, let's now move on to the next slide.
So
sorry. So there are select theories of motivation, Kyle will do the first and I will do the others. Kyle?
Yes, so the Maslow need for the hierarchy theory, we have different steps. So we're starting from the top. So we have self-actualization, we have self-esteem, we have love and belonging.
All right, I'm going to have to stop you there, Kyle. When we're talking about Maslow's hierarchy of needs,
We go up.
but we start from the bottom up.
Yes, yes.
His philosophy say that we have to fulfill what is at the bottom until we reach to the top. And if you realize, guys,
now we're here.
what was that?
No, it's started from the bottom. Now we're here. It's like a song. Sorry.
Right. Yeah. So, and if you realize it is presented in a triangular form, which speaks a lot about it. The physiological part needs of it. We realize that is much broader than any aspect of the triangle, which means that that takes in a lot. Okay, so when we're looking at Maslow's theory, never start from the top. Self-actualization is when persons feel that they have reached, and a self-actualization is really intrinsic. You have to decide what is self-actualization for you. Some persons figure that they're in the ideal job that they are and they don't need to move up, and while you have persons who figure no, even though they have mastered this area of their life, they probably figure that they can branch out into something else. So it has to do with you intrinsically. All right, so go ahead, Kyle.
Okay, so the physiological needs. So we have breathing, food, water, shelter, clothing, and then sleep. This is everything. This is all the needs that one might need. So we have the safety.
These are our basic needs.
These are basic needs, yes. We have to have these.
Yeah.
To survive, yes.
Yeah, and
so
Maslow has to say that until we pass the physiological stage, we can't move to the next stage. Certain stages.
Right, as long as we're satisfied, we cannot move up.
Very good, very good. Okay, continue, Kyle.
So we have safety and security. So health, employment, property, family, and social stability. We have love and belonging, friendship, family, intimacy, sense of connection. Then we have self-esteem, confidence, achievement, respect, and others, the need, and respect of others, the need to be unique individuals. So we have self-actualization, morality, creativity, spontaneity, acceptance, experience, purpose, meaning, and inner potential.
Okay.
So this is
very good.
Theory.
So guys, what Maslow is actually telling us, trying to tell us, when we are at the level of love and belonging, right? We're not even considering thinking about how we're going to build our confidence and our achievement. Not to say two levels can't work at the same time, but when there's certain lacking in your life, when you don't have friends, you probably move to a new country, you don't have friends, your family members aren't with you and all of those. You're seeking for those connections before you even move to the next stage of thinking about self-esteem, right? Even the same as safety and security. When you're looking for employment, social stability and such, the certain things are not enticing to you until you have fulfilled that aspect of your life. So that is basically what Maslow is trying to say. All right, the next one now, David.
All right. So David McClelland's learned needs theory. So he identified motivators for human behavior. And humans are driven by three things based on David McClelland's theory: a need for achievement, affiliation, and need for power. Now, we all know achievement is basically being successful to do something or achieving something, right? Everybody with me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes.
Oh,
Right.
absolutely. Listening
So,
attentively.
something done successfully. And we know that affiliation is a state or process of being affiliated. And we have power. This is the ability to do something in a particular way, right? Or to direct or influence behavior of others or course of events. Now, McClelland also promoted the idea that a person's major motivator has an impact on their personality. Now, he went on to say that culture and life experiences influence a person's major motivation. So here we look at the following table. Let's look at the following table that displays the characteristics of people who have specific dominant motivators. Now look at them. Maybe you can apply some to yourselves.
Are we on
We have,
another slide? We're moving.
no, look, it's right here on the right-hand side.
Oh, we're still on this slide about achievement, affiliation, and power.
Yes, look at the table is right here, next to Maslow.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, it's right below the heading. All right. So the dominant motivator when it comes to achievement, affiliation, and power. Now, the characteristic of this person, let's say the employee, now has a strong need to set, accomplish challenging goals. So in the organization, with regards to Windows 10 or 11, the employee wishes to become successful at the end of the training or the end of the course to teach them how to manage or how to master Windows 10 or 11, right? Maybe it may be hectic at first because they may not have had prior knowledge of it or so on. So at first it may be a challenge, but then during training and so on and practice, they were able to master, and then they became successful at the end by gaining the certificate or the qualification to be an expert in handling Windows 10 or 11. Takes calculated risks to accomplish their goals, likes to receive regular feedback on their progress and achievements. So during training, the instructor can give feedback to the employees on how they are doing with regards to train to ensure that they understand how to use this type of technology in the organization. All right. Often likes to work alone. Now, maybe this, we have an employee who don't like to work in groups, but maybe they feel that they are better at working by themselves. They get the work done quicker, and maybe they can probably multitask by themselves without getting additional help from anyone. And maybe to them that they feel that once they work alone, they can be able to achieve the goal of becoming an expert to use this type of technology in the organization. Now, affiliation wants to belong to the group. Now, maybe in the same organization, we have some employees who prefer working together as a group to get the job done or to accomplish a set goal, wants to be liked, and will often go along with whatever the rest of the group wants to do. Favors collaboration over competition, doesn't like the high risk or uncertainty. So employees who are for affiliation, they prefer to work in groups, or teamwork is their mantra. So they feel that once they work together as a team, they can get things done. So in the organization, when they're using affiliation, things can be done quicker or faster. They don't look at each other's competition, but as a team, as having a work relationship. So because they don't look at it as a competition, but more of a collaboration, the goals that they wish to achieve will be achieved. Now, power wants to control and influence others, likes to win arguments, enjoys competition and winning, enjoys status and recognition. So maybe we have an employee who may be greedy, or who feels that he or she is better than the rest. So they think because they maybe receive the top award for the most outstanding student during the training or during the session, they feel that, okay, because of this, I'm better than him or I am better than her, and because of this, I will be appointed or promoted before everybody else.
Romina,
yes, miss.
not Miss Deandra here. I wanted to interject here. You spoke in a negative light about the person being.
I was gonna speak another way too as well.
Okay, because I was gonna say
I said greedy first. I said greedy. I was gonna give a different view of it too.
Oh, okay, all right.
Right. So this person may think that they are better than the others, whereas we have another person who wants to control and influence others, and maybe when they do this, they can influence them in a positive way by showing them what to do if they don't understand what they're doing. Maybe that person is a quick learner, so that they can show the other employees what they need to do or how they can improve this. Maybe they can evaluate their own, like do peer evaluations, where they can assess each other, and this one who has the power, well, who has more of a leadership quality than the others, may tend to feel they have this sort of authority.
Okay. So
Yeah.
Romina, does one employee can have all these characteristics?
Few employees can have these. Some employees can
carry all three of them? Or you feel that as the training goes on, these things will come out of each of them? What do you think?
I think no, because he wants to control and influence others and enjoys competition and winning. Maybe an employee who wants to follow power may not want to be a part of the affiliation aspect of it, and vice versa.
Okay, all right. We can concur that.
But sometimes there may be an employee who enjoys competition and winning and so on and wants to get promoted and
Right.
so on. While there's another one who is more for teamwork rather than thinking of themselves.
Okay. All right. Okay, let's move on to the next slide.
Okay, the next theory, incentive theory. Now, example of this theory, an individual being motivated to go to work every day because of an external incentive in the form of a wage or money. Meaning, maybe they got a salary increase or wage increase. So they are motivated by this. Like there's a saying that goes, some people work for the income and not the outcome. If anybody understands what that means.
Yes, I like the saying.
Oh, all right. So the
That could be bad for the company, nevertheless, because if it's just for the incentive,
exactly. I
it
think
can
so
be very
too.
bad. Yeah.
All right. So now the concept of
Sorry about that. Can I interject?
uh-huh.
Based on the incentive theory, I would think that mostly everyone goes to work because of that particular reason. So whereas somebody may have maybe a more stronger view about it, but there's not one person you'll find going to work without knowing that they're going to get paid. So I think it's something that I will have to look into a little deeper because we're all motivated when we go to work by our pay. Whether the pay is enough or not, we go because we're going to be paid.
Well, I wouldn't say pay
Some
is
people may go because
incentive.
it's their passion.
Right, right. I wouldn't say pay getting because if you
Yeah.
work, you have to get paid. Pay is
Some
just
people may love do because of the part they love what they do.
That
right,
And
is
they believe
true.
in making a difference.
right.
I believe that, but
Pay
that
is
is
not
that
an
basically sometimes come in more volunteer work. And yes, it could come in non-profit organizations, but the majority of persons go to work because they're going to be paid. And if they weren't, they're definitely going to find another job because you can't eat if you're not paid. And so, yes, I understand the incentive theory and so on. Basically, persons are motivated by money, but we are all motivated by money because without money, it doesn't make sense to go out there and do certain types of jobs.
Okay, we have to be careful how we treat incentive. If you work, you're supposed to get paid, you get a basic pay. The incentive part will come now. For example, if you work extra and you get like overtime pay, or you get they have some other jargons that they use. You get extra compensation. That would be the incentive. Your pay is your pay already. Once you work, you pay. So that it shouldn't be too much of a motivation, so to speak. Unless you work for, if you don't work, you don't get paid. You get have that kind of job. If you don't come in today, you don't get paid for that day. But the incentive here now is if when say you complete a certain task and you're given like an extra pay, extra incentive on that pay. So that's where the incentive comes in.
Okay, great, because the example does not show that. The example shows that you're motivated to go to work every day because of an external incentive in the form of a wage. A wage is not, a wage or a salary is not extra. It is what you.
And let us not just limit incentive as to money. When somebody
That's true.
learns something new, when somebody is working with Windows 11 and it makes their life easier, the work load easier, that's an incentive for them as well. some persons they are given like new laptops, new computers as a result of the upgrade because the old computers. So I mean, you know, for me, getting a new laptop or a new computer at work, even though it belongs to the organization, but for me, using it, it's an incentive for me. It motivates me intrinsically as well.
Miss Deandra here, I wanted to add too, as you mentioned that things like certificates, if you have the little award presentation or employee of
We're not hearing you, Deandra, but we hear the certificate part. We're not hearing
Employee of the month.
Yeah, and we should realize we're not hearing you, Deandra. That's why
leader or team member of the month. Those are inside.
right. We're not hearing it. That's why I'm interjecting. Yeah, those are because remember, not everybody come to stay in one job, and these little certificates and such that you can put on your resume that you can impress another employer with. Okay, we weren't hearing you, Deandra, so I hope it doesn't sound like I cut you off. All right, let's move to the next slide.
Okay. No.
How many more slides do you have left? How many more slides?
3.
3 more? Okay.
Yes, please. So best practices and approaches used by managers and leaders to keep people motivated. Now, for Maslow's need hierarchy, managers recognize that a satisfied need may lose its value. Like, for example, money may satisfy basic needs, right? But strong motivators for high-level performance and work happiness include group ties, supervisory relationships, recognition, and self-esteem. So managers might spend time figuring out how to avoid jeopardizing base demands while yet creating new chances for development and achievement. Okay. With McClelland's need theory, now managers recognize that people driven by accomplishment require demanding assignments, a strong work ethic, and regular feedback to fulfill their self-esteem requirements. Because we know sometimes in the workplace, there are employees who has a very low self-esteem or self-confidence, and they may not, you know, say much. And then we have non-intense incentive theory. A combination of monetary and non-monetary incentives produces better outcomes. All right. And now the relevance and importance of motivation in management. So we know that managers and leaders have a significant role to play in motivating their employees, right? So there are several chances in the management of people to attain high levels of performance. Maybe it could range from recruiting and selection through training and performance management, right? So like for this technology with the Windows 10 or 11, we have to, the managers or leaders managers have to ensure that all of the employees that they need to do this training is being recruited and they start, and they should monitor their progress during the training, right? Create a productive environment in which people feel intrinsically motivated, externally challenged, and goal-oriented aligned if we find the right people. So we have to ensure that the environment is welcoming, comfortable, and soothing, right? That it will not be an environment that can be destructive to the employee, but something that where they can be able to walk freely and comfortably. The summary of activities, activity 3.3. Kyle?
Yes. So the activity of 3.3, that was a video shown explaining the factors resistant to change. It's a very short video. It won't take much time. It's like 6 minutes. We have activity 3.4. This is based on the social issue that could force a NGO working with youth development. So the issue is drugs and alcohol abuse, and then educational inequality. So that activity is a very good activity to take part in also. And then we have activity 3.6. So we have true and false. So we'll just try true.
Quickly.
We'll try true and false. So we could volunteer. You read the question and you just answer as you go.
True or false? So number one,
hold
some
on,
workers will.
Hold on, Ronnie. Just call somebody's name. You can say Farah, number one.
Yeah.
Okay, call somebody and have them answer.
Sheldon. Vonan.
No, read it for them. Read it for them. Call them name and read it for them, and they will answer true or false.
Okay. So Kyle, call the name and I'll read.
Okay, so Vernon.
Some workers will resist change. Is this true or false?
That's true.
Anybody else agree?
That's true.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
I'll agree. Number two.
Number two, Miss Edwards. Good communication with employees will help to make the change management process more effective. True or false?
That's definitely true.
Anybody else?
True.
Good. Number three, Farah. Change occurs very rarely.
False.
Everybody else agrees?
Yeah, I think I'll agree with the false. Yeah.
Yes. Number four, Sheldon, improving technology can be a driver for change.
True.
Everybody else agrees?
True.
True. Number five, Hazel, it is better if employees are not involved in the change process.
Quite false. I'm practically living it at work right now.
Very good. Yeah, that's definitely false. Number six.
Yes, true. Yes, that is true. It is false. Sorry if I sound contradicting. 6, passive leadership is important during periods of change. Vonan?
I think that's false.
Everybody agrees with him?
Agree.
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
for Vernon to answer that, what is passive leadership, Vernon?
Okay, and that is not the leadership where the person is not really active in they kind of they're laissez-faire.
Is that correct, Kyle and Romina?
Yes. I didn't want it to use that word, but it's more like passive aggressive. They don't show their true color, like they're just in a passing state.
Okay, so what was your answer, Vernon? False?
Yes, false.
Okay, all right. Number 7.
Change is usually quick and inexpensive. Everybody?
False.
And 8, the whole organizational culture may be affected by change.
True.
True. Yes, that's
true. Very good. 8 out of 8. Excellent. We have activity 3.7. Now, this activity has to do with there are 7 descriptions, well, sentences. And the instruction said, write the theory of motivation that explains the following behaviors. Number 1. So these are what I came up with. If you interject or you think that it's something else, you can say. All right. Number 1. Education in sub-Saharan Africa often takes a backseat to finding food or protecting one's family from competing warlords. Which theory of motivation does this describe?
Is it
Does this describe?
McClelland's?
Maslow.
It's Maslow.
Why? Why Maslow?
Because the basic needs, you said education has to take a back seat, right? That's what you said?
Yes.
Basic needs have to be realized first before you can go on to the other needs. And
I agree with you also. I say it's Maslow as well. Anyone else agrees with us?
Okay, very good. Give us one more on this area.
Okay, one more. Your parents tell your little brother that they will pay him $20 if he gets all A's at the end of the school year.
Is that incentive?
Yes, it is. Why is it incentive?
Well, definitely. The $20 is a motivational factor there, which means that it's some incentive that he will get as a result of doing something. So that's
very good
incentive. All right, give us one more.
Final one. Okay. Let me see. It is 1 and you have just eaten lunch. Your neighbors who are from India are cooking food with their windows open. You walk to their house to hopefully get a few of the awesome samosas they have made.
Sorry, could you repeat?
Curry.
It's 1. It is 1, as in 1 o'clock. And you have just eaten lunch. Your neighbors who are from India are cooking food with their windows open. You walk to their house to hopefully get a few of the awesome samosas they have made.
But you're saying that you have already eaten lunch, which means that it's a case that you're not hungry. So that's not a need factor right now. Is that the case? But you still walk over to get some of their...
When I read it, what came to my mind was affiliation.
Okay.
So I had said it's David McClelland's lawn needs theory.
Affiliation as in to do what? Just the social aspect of things, just the socialize.
Yeah, because if you just ate lunch, right? You're not hungry, but then
right,
you want you go to your next door neighbors because they're cooking and so I think you want to be a part, like you want to be amongst them to socialize. You want to belong, or you want to be noticed or accepted, or you know.
Right. Okay.
Sounds quite so.
You need that.
So I think it's affiliation. Like I think so too, because if you already eaten and you full, unless you're licorice.
It could still take in Maslow.
I haven't heard that term in a long time.
Yeah, it could also take in Maslow's.
Maslow as well.
Yeah, it could take in Maslow as well. That part of you that just need a social interaction. All right, we're going to skip activity 3.8. Let's see what you have on the next slide.
Conclusion.
Okay.
So, right. So, conclusion. Now, sorry. Hold on. All right. So the study of organizations and how people behave inside them is a crucial part of managing and leading. So given that organizations of all forms and sizes dominate the modern world, knowledge about their structure and function feeds into various decision-making systems, right? So in order to get productive results in businesses, organizations, change management and motivation go hand in hand. Change is difficult to implement, yes, at times, but it is an important aspect of management that must not be overlooked. So the way an organization responds to and manages change has a significant impact on its success or failure. And it is critical to acknowledge the need for change and to obtain buy-in for the changes that will be implemented. So motivation is important at all levels, from personal to corporate. And we use the technology situation, the scenario from the technology of the Windows 10, right? As well as the quotation from Stephen Covey on motivation, who pushed the concept that internal drive is the only sort of motivation that lasts. But so we can see that there are behaviorists who disagree with this perception, and some who solely believe in internal motivation after looking at the 3 theories of motivation. These are our references, and that's the end of our presentation.
Okay, thank you very much, Kyle and Romina. Any questions from the group?
You're
No,
welcome.
but it's a very nice presentation.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody want to have anything to say? If you don't have a question, you might have something to say.
Good night,
We posted, oh.
What was your motivation for such a wonderful presentation?
That's question for me?
No.
Oh, for
the presenters.
My motivation. Okay. I would say intrinsic, and probably both intrinsic and extrinsic, because as a teacher, I love PowerPoint presentations, although sometimes I don't like to talk. I just like to put it together, the creative aspect of it. So I was driven to ensure that the presentation was put together so that we can present it in class and that you understood the details on it. External motivation, well, it will be graded. So I have to ensure that I am driven or motivated to attend class, ensure that the internet is working well to present tonight so that Miss Edwards can grade my partner and I, my classmate and I, sorry.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Romina.
I have posted a discussion question, but I don't know if I posted it, I think it was 3 nights ago, but no one had responded to it as yet.
I'm working on it. Sorry, I meant to post it.
This question should have posted from Monday, Romina and Kyle, right? Because
it was posted about.
It's Thursday.
I think it was posted. No, it was posted on Monday.
It was posted on Monday. Okay.
Yes. Yes. It was posted on Monday.
Okay. All right.
Yes, Miss.
I need to remind students that the presenters for the week can post these discussions, and if you don't participate in them, it is going to show on your reflective learning log. Because I'm not going to go back in time with persons if you, after we're on the 4th week and you decide, okay, you're going to do Sheldon and Hazel's discussion, it's not going to work, because I'm going to look in your learning log, I'm going to look for the dates and the time that you posted as well. Those things are to be logged in your learning. So it's not going to work.
Right.
You think you have time to go back in time. I'm not going back in time with anyone. You think you can go back
It
in
was
time?
posted on Monday at 5:43 p.m.
Okay, all right. The only one I
Yeah.
expect to see some delay is the first discussion by Sheldon and Hazel. But we're not going to be on the 4th week, and I see persons just posting to Hazel's and Sheldon's discussion question. All right. I think we can end here, but I need to ask Kyle something. Kyle, what stood out for you in this unit? What presented itself as some means of learning, something new to you that you have learned, and you that as it makes some changes for you?
Good night. I would say it's the hierarchy theory.
Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Yes. I saw it multiple times in all my courses, that's why. So seeing it again is like reinforcement.
The first time I saw this theory was when I was a student at the Teachers College.
Okay, all right. Okay, guys. I guess we don't have any more questions. You guys, I don't know if you guys want to continue to discuss the election yesterday. You can go ahead, but we're gonna close off now. If there's no more questions to Ronmina or Kyle, can we close off now?
So okay. So you're gonna end now, Miss?
Yeah,
Oh, let me just ask a quick question. A quick question. The theory with David next to the Maslow's affiliation, power, and achievement, if I remember correctly.
David McClellan.
Right. These ones I notice is a bit different in that it is not in a pyramid form. I'm just trying to decipher. So then power would be at the top or what?
Well, it's the theory. Different theories have different viewpoints.
No, what I'm saying is that
okay, I understand what you're asking.
Can I answer the question?
Oh, but I think I know what you mean. But then an individual may prefer to use affiliation rather than power. So
okay, all right. Let me explain it a little bit.
Can I answer the question?
Okay, is that Leandro?
Hazel.
Okay, go ahead, Hazel.
The theory, what I like about it when I saw it actually is that it has a lot to do with grouping. In an organization, you'll find different types of people. So it has nothing to do with an hierarchy, going from one stage or one level to the next. You don't have to achieve one level to go to the next. So it's basically how people are. You work with different types of people, and you would see that this one is a leader, and this one would like to work with others, but don't like to be in the forefront. And another one, what's the first one again? The second one was affiliation,
achievement.
the power.
The first one is
and
achievement.
and the other one like to work
affiliation.
alone.
Achievement, affiliation, power.
Yeah, and and you have persons who like to work alone. So it has nothing to do with an hierarchy, but what it has to do is a way of recognizing the strengths in individuals within an organization, even in the classroom, and pulling them together in groupings so that they can work together for the betterment of the organization.
Very good, well said. Yes, remember these things are explained on the characteristics. The characteristics that you see coming out of these employees. As soon as you work, you probably run a training session or just working around them as a manager. Guys, remember you're doing management and leadership. Working around them, and you are able to identify certain characteristics from these employees, these individuals. So yes, that theory has nothing to do with what Maslow theory and model is quite unique. He presents it as a pyramid, meaning that you start from the bottom and one level has to be satisfied before you move to the next. But this one now, it is has to speak with characteristics that you see coming out as a result of working with these people. You give them certain projects and you see what is coming out. You know who can work by themselves. I remember Rolmina was saying you might have an employee who prefers to work by herself. She works better on her own. I was going to ask you what you do with this type of employee, knowing that your organization has to do with teamwork. But we're out of time, so we'll just leave that part of it. Okay. I hope that explains it to you, Sheldon. I think it was
yes, miss. But yes, miss. But I want to say this though. But sometimes a person within an organization can have the blended characteristics, because you may find a person who likes to maybe work alone, but at the same time, in an argument, that person likes to win arguments.
Oh, Miss had asked that question though. She had asked if one person can possess all characteristics.
All characteristics?
Yes,
she had asked something to that. Yeah, she had asked something to that effect.
I think one could be dominant, and that's what you have to look for, the dominant trait in the person.
Very good.
That is true. That is true.
Very good. All right. Okay, so we can, if you want to, I'm going to stop the recording. If you want to continue to talk about the election, I think what was the last question we asked about the election? Oh yeah, I was the one who asked what actual change, what did this person come with? What mandate did this person, this new government came with that convinced you, you know what, we need to make this change and elect this new government.
Okay.
Miss.